crisis was actually a wake-up call for the country to do what you just mentioned in terms of the challenges, the opportunities that they found. And one of the things that a lot of people are saying is that we need to diversify our market, which has been traditionally towards the European markets and South African markets, diversify into growing economies such as India, China and Africa. So according to your view, what sort of product offerings and what sort of experience should we provide to this new clientele on this beautiful island?
I think 2009 was a very harsh wake-up call, and people will remember that it happened actually 2 years after the boom year in 2007. So really it was a very harsh wake-up call. What we need to agree upon and in terms of the way we want things to happen, emerging markets have always been there, and there have always been some efforts in trying to capture part of these markets. We have been more active in terms of diversifying our source markets after the crisis. Let's face it. When we decided that we were going to go along those lines, we had to create our own conditions for air service also, which is something that many people tend to forget. We had to get Air Mauritius to be one of the foremost parties in the way we want to handle the Chinese market, for instance, and we are successful up to now. And I think moving forward, we need to also adjust in terms of, step 2 after having provided the seats after step 1, step 2, move on and get a clearer, a proper image building and image construction and market construction, for that matter, in terms of what we want to achieve. The debate about the adaptability of a product is quite new. I think, again, tropical island resort destination where a Western traveler would come over and spend his holidays or her holidays here, and we have, as many as 40% of repeat travelers into this island. These are the features that, made up our core offering for the Western traveler. We know that travelers from India or China or even from Russia are different. They are different in their expectations, they are different in their behaviors, and they are different in the way they want to spend their time here. We are aware of that. On top of that, we've got language issues that we need to deal with. So let's take the Chinese market, for instance, because this is the newest example where we have really put in our best effort so far. There are still things that we need to improve. There are still things that we need to build upon. The language barriers, a more enriching cultural interaction is required. Better knowledge of the behaviors of these Chinese tourists or the expectations of the Chinese tourists is something that we need to achieve. If we want to achieve these, then a certain number of efforts are required. On that count, I tend to think that we are moving, but maybe we could have moved faster. So I think this year in 2014, we have a number of initiatives which we are going to contribute to in terms of language, of course, knowledge of each other's culture, the provision of excursions and activities, namely amusements and entertainment for these Chinese tourists, for instance. And we know that we are promising a different experience. We know that the Chinese know the Maldives for the beach, the lagoon and all. We know that in Mauritius we have a lot more to offer, and we need to invest in these product contents in order to be able to be a competitive destination and maybe educate the market also in terms of how we are different. And then there are lots of aspects here that really appeal to the Chinese traveler, and we've got, let me take an example, for instance, and you might think, and I'm sure you would see a clear difference. The Chinese traveler worldwide looks at the guide, or what we call the guide, the accompanying guide that is with them for the whole duration of their stay, holiday stay, wherever it is around the world. We need the same thing here, but we need the same thing in, with a full set of competencies, language, knowledge of the country, of the history, behavior, and all these. So this is a challenge that we are trying to meet right now.
And you mentioned earlier, we have got a very old industry, a pillar in the economy, and we have got accumulated a lot of experience in that sector, and we've actually got a lot of good staff, good experience, good expertise, the know-how, the knowledge of doing things, running the tourism sector. How can we use or tap this experience to widen our effort into going into the region, in the world?
Our tourism product and industry is hinges upon the quality of our people, and not only the quality, but I would say the character, the way we are and who we are, the hospitality, the warm welcome, the smiles. All these form part of our people and is really the basis of our success so far. This is in terms of people, but also in terms of creating the industry, getting it forward, gearing it towards the worldwide demands. This has also been achievable thanks to the contribution of a significant number of expatriate hotel managers, hotel experts. And I tend to say, for instance, that when you get into the hospitality industry, at whatever level, whether you are a housekeeper or waiter or rooms supervisor or whatever it is, or even management, you go international straight away. And that's very different from any other job you can think of in Mauritius. You go international on the first day you're stepping into a hotel, which is why today, and because we're also a very open economy, our people move and travel along in a significant manner. In the early 80s, we had a significant amount of people who traveled and worked and lived in the Middle East. We benefited from their return some years ago, later, when they returned back and joined the industry again. We have people from Mauritius who work as valet in skiing estates. Yeah. You would imagine that in skiing estates. Yeah. They work on cruise ships. They work on in a number of countries where those skills are being looked for. We also have that willingness to move outside Mauritius, and you would know that many of the local groups have also invested significantly in the region. We have now resorts boasting the local brand names in Maldives, in Seychelles, in Réunion Island, in Madagascar. So these are aspects and examples of which show that really we've been investing a lot, hard work, dedication and commitment, and we've come up with today know-how that is really that has been tried and tested in many forms. And again, today it is becoming also an issue in terms of how the labor market is stretched right now in Mauritius. Many sectors are affected, but in our case, really, we do have issues in certain areas where our people being rated so highly by a number of international recruiters. You name it, they can be airlines from the Middle East, they can be cruise companies that come over here, and in a simple recruitment exercise can go as far as digging to 3 or 4% of the labor force available, which is massive.
Pleasure to have you on the show, Jocelyn. We look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much, Yusuf. Pleasure. Thank you.